nations, man. You're gonna get it. You're gonna bow down. You're gonna bow down.
Shalom. Kol halo Yahweh Ba'ashum Yahusha Ba'ashum Rakach Wadash. The bunch of the apostles, the bunch of the elders at Great Millstone, Ruel, and taught me this truth. Much respect to you brothers out there just preaching his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of earth. Tabernacle of David that's being risen up right before your very eyes. The next ruling class, right? The hopeful elect, the speckled bird, our people scattered abroad as listening and learning. To you, I say shalom. Right, as you see on the screen, what is that? Right, the Charagma, the MOTB. And we're coming into the time of this man getting into his technocracy, right? As the elders get into. And matter of fact, which I heard a code saying from the elder in Boston, right? Esau Edom's kingdom is finished, but he is just now getting started. And this is what we're reading about, right? His kingdom is finished, but he is just now getting started. But what did the scriptures say, right? He's not going to be able to enjoy his enterprise. Just like Alexander the Great, right? He was not able to enjoy his enterprise. He was able to knock down the darker races, right? But he was not able to enjoy his enterprise, right? Shoot, even his own son got killed, right? And his four generals took over. But this time, the Israelites, right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, speckled bird, right? You are the Israelites. And the elect, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the elect, right? The elect men, the 144,000, with our big brother Yahushua, King David, is going to come down and take this man out of power, right? The angels, right? Take this man out of power. But once again, let's get into it, right? About this man's technocracy, right? Sam Altman is calling for universal basic income. You see that? And a 4-day work week for the intelligence age. This man's technocracy, the intelligence age, because we're going to go down here, right? Because this man is putting that squeeze, right? Ah, man, I ain't put it in here. But pretty much the picture that I wanted to get, which I ain't put in here, the people are feeling it, everything is increasing, but wages are not increasing, right? But this is a good example as well. Anyways, the income needed to buy the average home in the U.S. is now $1,100,000, nearly 80% from 59,000 in 2020. So things are going up, and this is by design. This is by the plan for the people to feel it. Because what? They're going to have to take that thing, right? They're going to have to take that thing, that Charagma, right? So let's get into it, right? It says Sam Altman says the upcoming intelligence age. What is that? With the MOTB, the AI is taking all the jobs. The war over there in the Strait of Hormuz, that's causing a squeeze as well, where goods are going up, gas prices is going up. So it's pretty much an attack from every side, and the people is feeling it, right? Super intelligence and beyond calls for economic and political reforms, including a public wealth fund for universal income. You see that? And how you going to get your income, right? By the MOTB, the Charagma. That's how you going to get that. And if you say anything, you go against the system, your thing is shut off, right? But the elect is going to be taken care of. The elect is going to be good. The elect is not going to take it. What the scriptures say, my servants shall eat and ye shall be hungry, right? And a 4-day work week. So even when you got this thing, let's say it comes to pass, right? Because I seen to where Elon Musk said, when this thing comes to pass, nobody will have to work anymore, right? So we'll see how this thing plays out. As I heard Elder Yansharamba said, you got the wicked elites, they all planning for, which they already have pretty much for the most part, total world domination. It's just some of these other countries are not under the banking families. They have their different views and values and how they want the new world to be like. But as I said earlier, they're not going to be able to enjoy the enterprise. The enterprise is going to be taken down, right? But this will be implemented, right? Matter of fact, China beat the world. First brain C-HIP approved for commercial use, right? Let's get back to it, right? The Public Wealth Fund would give Americans an automatic public stake in AI companies and AI infrastructure. Well, if you're paying attention, they're talking about the AI bubble, how eventually it's going to pop because they're not making returns on their investments. And I believe for them to make the returns on the investments, it's just me speaking as a man, they got to implement the MOTB. They got to do it. They got to do it to you. All right? Because you got these data centers, which is causing destruction to the environment. I mean, people having to pay higher electricity bills. It's polluting the water. This man got to be taken out of power, man. Got to be taken out of power. Slovakia, right? With these AI data centers, right? They're causing the price of RAM to go up. And if you know anything about computing, pretty much every computer component uses RAM, even if it's just 1 gigabyte, right? Every computer component uses RAM, and RAM prices has skyrocketed, and other components as well with this AI boom and the data centers, right? Pretty much the price of cars is going up. The price of your laptops, your PS5s, which those are just computers with a different operating system, right? They don't run on Windows or whatever on that operating system, It's just causing everything to go up. But anyways, let's see. Automatic stake in AI companies and AI infrastructure. Any returns will be distributed. Oh man, Salaki, y'all. Distributed directly to citizens. Another proposal would also stabilize a 4-day work week with no loss in pay to fulfill his promise that AI will give humans better work-life balance. And this is what they're going to come with, man. You take that MOTB, life is going to be better. That convenient button. You open up your car door, you don't have to use a key. Open up your house door, don't have to use a key anymore. Just swipe and pay. Or just, I believe what they have over there in Amazon, right? You just walk in to the store. I believe it's like certain markets. You walk into the store, you pick what you want, and you walk out and you automatically get charged, right? That's a showing of things to come, right? Another proposal was one to stabilize a 4-day work week with no loss in pay, fulfilling his promise that AI will give humans a better work-life balance. He also suggests that companies boost retirement matches and contributions cover a large share of health costs and stabilize child and elder care. Well, hey, what did Trump say? We don't have any money to pay for all that, right? So we'll keep an eye out on the Strait of Hormuz, right? We'll see how that plays out. Cause hey, America wants to be great again. That's what they gave you. And with this place, this place produces oil, but yet the gas prices is going up, man. Right? Y'all supposedly taking over Cuba. That's oil. It's all geared up for the war, man. Right? What they named the department. From the Department of Defense to Department of War. We see that. Anyways, let's get this other article right here. Right? It says Sam Altman and OpenAI just proposed the end of the 5-day work week. And this is getting into his technocracy. And apparently, we'll see how things happen. You people still going to work. All right, still through. In a new policy paper called Industrial Policy for the Intelligence Age, right, his technocracy, they argue that AI is about to reshape work so deeply that the old model of full-time labor no longer fits what is coming. And it's no coincidence that AI is taking everybody's jobs. The robots is taking people's jobs, right? One of the clearest proposals is to run pilots of 32-hour work week with no loss in pay based on the idea that productivity gains from AI should turn into more free time instead of just more output. You see? See? This is talking about their utopia in which they wish to accomplish, but once again, as I'll get, right as the enterprise is going to be taken down. Right? Matter of fact, they got AI schools. Right? The kids learning from AI. So yeah, the AI is taking over everything. Slacking. The paper also calls for public wealth fund that captures a part of gains from AI pay returns directly to citizens along higher taxes on capital, corporate income, and automatic labor to replace the revenue that payroll taxes are about to lose. Taken together, it points a real shift away from traditional model of work towards shorter weeks and new ways of sharing value that AI is starting to create. You see that technocracy, right? And all the nations is pretty much starting to implement this. No more cash, implementing AI, the robots, the C-HIP. This is the time that we coming into. All right, brothers already did a lesson on this. I did a lesson on it as well a couple weeks ago. But just bringing it out again, right? Trump just signed a directive to allow AI chips to be put inside of human brains, right? That Charagma, that Revelation 13, right? And then you see this, right? The people feeling the squeeze last week. 9 warehouses burned down. Went into this the other day in my lesson, right? And the person that said it, hey, all you had to do was pay us enough to live. And you see, you have Luigi. And hey, wasn't he that cat? Or, we'll say that he was blamed for it. I don't think they ain't catch the real killer. He was just a man to stand in. But hey, that's the uproars of the people. Right? Got this as well. Right? We need $2 billion a day to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Reportedly, China's foreign minister responded, but the Strait of Hormuz was already open before the war. The root cause of the disruption is your illegal military operations against Iran. You have created a global crisis out of nothing. And the nations are angry. They're seeing how you moving and conducting yourself. Right? Went into the other day, brothers as well. Right? That taco. Trump always chickens out. Well, the time is coming where the nations are not going to chicken out. They're going to actually use their nuclear warheads. Right? You got this right here. The chosen knights leaders warn a second, what? Citing the rise of, you know what? Anti-Sim, right? As Elder Malcolm was getting into, you pretty much brought it upon yourself, right? You would use these evil tactics and then run and tuck tail and, say victim, and now these things are actually going to happen. Don't be surprised, right? So they gotta shut down the internet. I went into the other day, right? The people are not looking at this man Amalek in a great light. What was it, about 60% of Americans? So a little over half of Americans are not looking at these people in the greatest of light, right? So let's get some scriptures and we'll go ahead and close out, right? Jeremiah 15, verse 33, thus saith the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. We are still found in their hands, man. And you got these so-called Christians that want the kingdom of heaven, but the kingdom of heaven cannot come until this man is taken out of power, right? The Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause. He may give rest to the land and disquit the inhabitants of Babylon. They're not going to be able to enjoy the enterprise, right? I got this Isaiah 65 and 13 in the Good News Translation, right? Because this is the time that we coming to when they what? Implement the MOTB, right? That time is coming, right? So check this, Isaiah 65 verse 13. And so I tell you that those who worship and obey me will have plenty to eat and drink. You see? Plenty to eat and drink, right? But you will be hungry and thirsty, right? So the roles are going to be reversed. The people that are in mourning, us, Yahweh Ratazah, we of the elect, the hopeful elect, right? That's in the house of mourning, is going to be able to eat and drink. But those that in that party spirit, that's not taking heed, that's doing whatever they want to do, just disregarding the prophets, disregarding the Lord's mouthpiece, they're going to be hungry and thirsty, right? And most definitely, when they implement this MOTB, they're going to be the first ones to run and take that thing because they're going to want a sense of normalcy. What happened when the plague hit, right? I remember people were saying it, hey, go ahead, take that thing so everything can go back to normal. I seen that, not knowing this man already had a plan. Scriptures say never trust an enemy. When does this devil give out things for free, right? They will be happy, but you will be disgraced. You see? That time is coming. They will sing for joy, but ye will cry with a broken heart. My chosen people will use your name as a curse. It's going to be mocking you. Singing, dancing, having a good time. I had a dream about that, man. I often tell it a lot, but, had a dream about that. Had my food, had my water. I was good. Person wanted to get some and like, nah, you ain't getting none of this, man. Laughing and, laughing in their face, man. I had a dream about that, right? Hey, Yahweh Ratazah, you brothers, few sisters that's listening and learning, myself, the brotherhood, right? We of the elect and we be able to, live this scripture out, right? My chosen people will use your name as a curse. I, the sovereign Lord, will put you to death. So not only are you going to be disgraced, going to be laughed at, you're going to be mocked, right? And you're going to be put to death. But I will give a new name to those who obey me. You see, that's why it's imperative to take heed. Anyone in the land who asks for a blessing will ask to be blessed by the faithful power. Whoever takes an oath will swear by the name of the faithful power, and troubles of the past will be gone and forgotten. So that's coming, man. As I said earlier, right? You know, you got these so-called Christians that want the kingdom of heaven, but don't realize that the kingdom of heaven cannot come until this man's enterprise is brought down, right? Proverbs 23 and Proverbs 22 and verse 3, KJV, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. NLT, a prudent person foreseeth danger and takes precautions. How you take precautions? By making your call and election sure, right? As the scriptures say, if you do these things, ye shall never fail. The Lord is not a man that he should lie, right? The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences, right? Y'all been saying these things is going to happen forever. But then you actually going to live it and you're going to see it that we were right, right? GNT, sensible people will see trouble coming and avoid it. That's the prophets and the men of the Lord and the elect. But an unthinking person, right? They just doing whatever, man. NPCs, right? They're just programmed to go off, right? Will walk right into it and regret it later, right? They're going to take the MOTB and they're going to regret it later because they're going to be reserved until the nuclear missiles, man. All right, get this right here. Psalms 32 and verse 1. Blessed is he who transgressions is forgiven, whose sins is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, in whose spirit there is no guile. Yahweh we of those men, right? Found blameless in the eyes of the Lord. So once again, as the scriptures say, if you do these things, make your call and election sure, ye shall never fail. Right, verse 5. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and my iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Say lie, you see? Because we're making the effort to try our best, and we're praying to the Lord, man. Hey, we truly trying to get the heck up out of here, right? For this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in the time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great water, they shall not come nigh unto thee, right? Go and get that protection. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Selah. You see? You see? And that's what we want. And for the sake of time, we're going to get this, right? Job 5 and verse 12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty. Talking about Yahweh Shemel Shai as you read a little bit up, right? The works of the Lord, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He take the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong, right? They meet in darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor have hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. So the Lord is going to the Lord is going to destroy this man's enterprise, and it's going to be beautiful. And the poor, that's us now, which the roles are going to be reversed, we're going to have joy. We're going to have joy. So Yahweh desires to edify lesson. Shalom.